And I'm Randy.
And we're here to talk to you today about a movie called The Last American Virgin from 1982. This movie is a teen comedy, which is one of...
A teen sex romp.
Yes, a teen sex comedy.
In the same vein as two other movies released this year, Porky's and Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
What we wanted to do this time is, because neither one of us really likes these types of movies all that much.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of these types of films, these random just sex romps.
So this episode's probably not going to be as in-depth as usual, but before we get to a clip from the trailer, let's talk a bit about the cast.
It's a really sad thing because when you look at the cast listing and you try to research them, it just kind of goes, yeah, this guy was most famously known for his role in the Last American Virgin. This girl is most famously known for their role in The Last American Virgin. And the only person that ever stood out to me was Kimmy Robertson, and that's just because she did some voice acting roles and she's done little bits parts here and there.
I recognize her pretty much from everything else.
Looking at photos of her then and now, you kind of go, okay, I recognize who this person is. Like I said, there was no real standout. You could tell this was done on a budget. This is very much like... But
I thought the actors actually did a really good done job, considering it's a teen sex
considering
comedy.
The script they were given. The other thing we should probably know is that this is actually a remake of a film that was originally done in...
1978.
Yes, in 1978, an Israeli film called Eskimo Limon or Lemon Popsicle.
Lemon Popsicle, yeah. It's
yeah.
well known as a remake. Some of the scenes are, if I'm not mistaken, shot for shot. And with that out of the way, this is a clip from the trailer.
It's all night. The Last American Virgin, featuring songs by Blondie, The Cars, Devo, Journey, The Police, REO Speedwagon, Tommy Two-Tone, and more. The Last American Virgin. See it or be it. Yeah. Shake it up.
And we're back.
We're back. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get our general impressions out of the way as well. Here's the thing.
You go first.
As we've said before, neither one of us really likes these types of movies all that much. So I'm just going to say, as far as these types of movies go, it was pretty standard, especially for an 80s film. It had all the same beats you would expect, the same sex escapades, the same sort of lines.
Sexcapades, if you will.
Sexcapades. And although there was not as much swearing as you would figure, considering the time period and considering, again, it was a sex movie. Also, the ending is kind of a downer, kind of unexpected if you have never really seen these types of movies before.
Yeah. So what happens with the movie is that it goes from just being the straight up coming of age comedy to becoming this, for the last, would you say about 20 minutes?
I'd say so, the last half hour.
Last half hour becoming this very serious drama.
It's about someone who's discovering that sex isn't everything and there's more to life than sex, and then realizing at the end, just because he realized it doesn't mean everybody else has.
Yeah, it's really, impressions overall for me was it just wasn't a good film. It was largely plotless until that started, this kind of like the boy becoming fixated on the girl, you know, that typical teen romantic comedy sort of thing. The girl looking being in love with the friend, and instead of it being what you would expect, oh, she falls for him in the end, that doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen because it's not that type of movie, even though you'd think it would be from the beginning of it.
Though the song for the end of the film was perfect and got it through all the way.
I'd say...
What's the name of the song?
I'd say... I'd have to relook.
I have to double check that. I'll tell you that.
I'm pretty sure it was the Commodores who did it.
Yeah, it is.
Actually, as far as that goes, that would be my highlight of the movie.
Oh, yes. The highlight for me of the film is the soundtrack, which was actually curated by somebody that you would know, Debbie Harry.
From Blondie.
And Mark Allen, but not him so much you would know, but...
No, but it was a very good soundtrack.
It was
had
a very
all kinds of,
much greatest hits of the new wave of the early 80s.
Yeah, some late 70s. It was very indicative of the time, and it was very catchy, and it was very well placed in the film, actually.
Yeah, they used it to very good effect.
Mm-hmm. And again, the other highlight I would say would probably be the ending, because as I said, it was an interesting twist on the usual formula. I know a lot of people back in the day were kind of confused by that type of ending, especially considering the other movies in this genre do not go that way. And I guess that would be your highlight as well, those types of...
Yeah, it was the thing. It was the soundtrack was my highlight of the film.
And since we got our highlights out of the way, we'll go straight to the lowlights. The lowlights would obviously be... Well, as I said, we don't really like these types of movies, and I actually like them a lot less than I did when I was younger. I've just totally burnt down on them, so I'm trying to be as objective about this as possible. The lowlights would definitely be the lack of plot. There wasn't a plot until like the very end of the movie. It was basically just these three guys going from scene to scene trying to have sex. That's it.
Which happens quite often in the film in like one or two kind of funny but predictable circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Which again, from that era, is probably par for the course.
Though there is one gag that I have to actually go back to step two. The highlight was the character named David, played by Mr. Grubbo. I can't remember his first name at the moment. Every time that they would have sex, or it was set up to have sex, it would always result in him having to run out of wherever they were with no clothes on, just his underwear, because either they were being chased out by parents, by
I'm almost certain
boyfriend.
That's where the trope came from, actually. It was this movie. And Randy already said his low light, which was basically the lack of plot.
Yeah, it was very plotless. It's like you could boil the whole movie down plot-wise into roughly...
You could probably make it to an hour total, really.
You could make this into an after-school special.
Actually, yes.
Because you could boil it down to roughly half an hour to 40 minutes. Yeah. Because that's basically how much of the plot. Like the first 2/3 of the movie, there is no plot beyond, oh, I love her, but she doesn't really care for me.
You could cut out a bunch of that stuff and you would whittle it down and get pretty much the same exact story.
And I still can't find the name of that song.
It doesn't matter.
We may have a clip of it later on, but we'll see. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah, and so as it goes, I would give it a 2 out of 5 total. It was an average 6 comedy for the time, and as I said, I don't really like them as it is. And but it did have a really good soundtrack that I really enjoyed, and I thought the ending was actually really well done.
I was initially going to give it a 2 until I realized that would be placing it higher than some of the other films I gave a 1. And I kind of liked those movies more than this one.
Well, that's because you don't like these types of movies.
Not just that. I don't also like slashers very much, but I still think of these other films a little bit better than this one here. So I'm still going to give this movie a 1. 1 thumb up, 1 star out of 5.
Okay, and with that out of the way, as I said, this is going to be a shorter one because we just don't really care for these types of movies. So what's the next film going to be, Randy?
That Championship Season.
That Championship Season from 1982.
1982, that's correct. And it stars... Actually, this one's going to be one of the bigger name films, if you think about it, from the actor-wise. Because the next film, That Championship Season, has stars like Robert Mitchum and Martin Sheen. Bruce Dern, Stacy Keach, and Paul Sorvino. All people that you and I would be familiar with.
Oh, that should be interesting.
So just reading that cast has actually made my anticipation of this film go up.
Okay. Well, we'll see when we get there.
Yep.
And with that said, we're finished here, people. I'm JD.
And I'm Randy,
and
as
we're
always.
The Canon Cruisers. Join us next time when we continue to cruise through the Canon catalog. See you
Keep
later.
cruising.